Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I'm Greg with RC Driver, and right here I have a LaTrax Rally car. I'm really excited to show this to you. It's not a new vehicle, but it's definitely new to the channel. We haven't had one of these on here before. This is one of those vehicles that's kind of unique. It's basically a really high-end toy or a budget side hobby grade vehicle. Now this is developed by the folks at Traxxas, so you know it has a really good design behind it. You know it's tried, true, tested. So it should be a really good vehicle. Actually, I'm going to spoiler, it is a great vehicle. I've actually driven these before down at the local track. There was a little class for them. Again, this isn't a new vehicle, so I've driven this before, and it is a lot of fun. So I'm really excited to show this to you, because if you're looking for something inexpensive, ready to run, on that crossover line between toy and hobby, this is definitely one of the machines that you should look at if you're looking for an on-road type of vehicle. All right, so let's just dip into the box here, and let's see what you get with this particular vehicle. I mean, obviously, by the front of the box, it's very cool. They do a great job with their box art on any Traxxas vehicle, and obviously over here on the LaTrax brand as well. Definitely shows you everything you need in an exciting way, so I definitely like the box art on this. But I know you guys want to see what's inside. So obviously, instruction manual. Gonna want to read this. I say this in every one of our unboxings and reviews. Traxxas, they definitely go through all the information you need, and I love the way they break out their instruction manuals. They're really well done, so check that out. And then over here, it looks like we probably have the charger, and I was right. And I'm really starting to get to know the packaging on all this stuff. This is a basic wall charger. There's the ID plug for it. It uses an ID plug battery. But what's nice is they give you a little sticker on here that lets you know what's going on with the LED lights. So over here it shows you the charge status, when it's charging, and when it's done gives you the LED status. So you can see what's happening with the battery charge. And then over here, obviously this is going to be the radio system, pretty well packed. And this is a hobby grade type of controller. This is much better than a lot of the toy brand controllers you'll find in big box stores. Just a really nice system here. Got a foam grip on the wheel, and overall it's just got this nice feel. Even this little cradle here for your thumb. And over here is the steering trim, and then to turn it on there's a switch on the back, and there's just some double A's that will go in towards the bottom there. You need to supply the double A's. But I really do like this radio system. I have a lot of vehicles with that radio system. And now we have the rally car itself, and this is probably zip tied to the bottom, so I'm gonna have to cut this out of here. And there we have it. There's the car itself. And it's got a really cool look to it. I love the LaTrax graphics on here. This bright orange really seems to pop. And just 4 body clips hold on the body. Allows you to access what's underneath on the chassis here. And nice looking body. And now we could go over the chassis of this vehicle. And it really does have some impressive features. So let's just start off up front. We've got the foam front bumper. Obviously adjustable body posts. And then we have some friction shocks to damp the independent suspension. And they've got a nice little universal axle down in there, gear differential inside. What I really like here is this 2-tone look, actually 3-tone with the red shocks. I mean, you know, this is beyond just a toy. This has some thought put into it. I really like the look of the chassis itself. But it's got Traxxas electronics, got a Traxxas servo in here, LaTrax speed controller by Traxxas. We've got the ID battery set up here, and this is a 5-cell battery. Let's just pop this battery out so you can actually see what it looks like. It's got this little retainer clip, just one body clip gets that out. And here it is, a 1200 milliamp battery pack that comes with that ID plug, so it's easy to charge everything. Then over here we have a weatherproof receiver cover. The speed controller and the servo are waterproof, so you don't have to worry about splashing water on those. We've got the motor tucked down in here, and actually if you could look inside, we've got an aluminum drive shaft that drives the 4-wheel drive drivetrain on this. Yes, it's 4-wheel drive, so it's gonna be a lot of fun out there. Actually, I've kind of jumped around, so let me keep moving from the front back. So we've got independent suspension, fixed links on everything here. The drivetrain does run on bushings throughout the whole entire system. We've got a dual bell crank steering with a little spring down in there, so it acts as a servo saver, so there's a little extra protection. And then we've got obviously this composite chassis here, and it's what's pretty neat is it's individual little components, so if you do need to replace things, you don't have to replace the whole chassis here. I like that setup. Definitely cool to see on this type of vehicle. We've got the rubber tires and white spoke rims, which look pretty cool. And then on the inside, it's got little brake discs in there. I like this attention to detail. In the back, as you would expect, gear differential back here as well. This is where your spur gear is and your pinion gear. And just a really well thought out little machine. I do love this car. I can't wait to show you guys this thing in action. Speaking of which, let's go have some fun with it. Well, just like I figured, the Rally was a blast to drive. As I mentioned before, I've driven these cars. I've had a lot of fun with these cars. I've raced these cars. They're just an absolute blast. And at just over $100, that's a really good deal. So if you're looking for a toy and you're going to spend about $100, you should really steer over to a LaTrax Rally car. Yes, it is just on the edge of toy, but it is more of a hobby grade vehicle. You could buy replacement parts for it, and that is very key when you're getting into RC. Go to a big box store, you're not going to be able to get parts for the stuff you find in there. Or with this vehicle, you could get replacement parts, and there are even a few cool hop-up parts. So you could definitely boost the performance, style, or durability of this machine. Now, let's break down the performance just a little bit. As I mentioned, I had a great time out there. I drove it on a basketball court, drove it around in a park's little courtyard area just for some fun. So let's talk about the steering. The steering definitely works pretty well on this little machine. There's some push there, and that's fine for those really getting into the hobby, getting into driving RC cars. You definitely want a car to push more than hooking. So for those of you that don't know, pushing is when the front of the car just kind of slides forward and you're turning the wheels. That's actually a good thing for those of you that are learning how to drive. It's better than hooking. And hooking means when the car turns really, really tight, more than you think it's going to turn. And some people get frustrated by that. So it works pretty well. There were a couple of hooks out there, and it was mostly because there was dirt and dust on the basketball court there. And so, it would hit that dusty patch and swing around. But overall, it steers pretty well. Definitely a lot of fun there. Acceleration-wise, I mean, this thing's pretty quick. You saw it. It's definitely fun for its size. I could really see this thing being a blast in some smaller driveways. Maybe you're running it in a 2-car garage or something like that. Maybe you have a big living room with a wood floor. That would be a lot of fun, and the power is definitely there to have fun in those situations. Now onto the handling of the vehicle, how it felt as I was driving around. On the bricks, it stayed pretty stable through there. On the basketball court, that was obviously very flat, and overall it just handled pretty well. Like I said, once again, I've driven these cars in a racing situation, stock out of the box, and they actually handle really well on the track, so I like the handling of this vehicle as is. For its intended use, for its intended user. And then finally we have durability. I was really in a bunch of flat area situations, parking lot, courtyard area. So there wasn't really any areas to durability test except for when I drove it down the stairs. And I did that just to check the durability, just to see if I could mess with this thing driving it down the stairs. And of course it's just fine other than some scratches on the bumper and some scratches on the bottom of the chassis. But overall, it works really well. As far as what I would recommend for this, again, if you're buying this because you're looking for a cool looking toy, just run it as is. You're going to have a blast with it. If you're looking for a little bit more out of there, I would suggest buying the ball bearings first. And Traxxas lists those in the back of the manual, and that is a neat upgrade to have, just so your drivetrain runs nice and free on the vehicle. And now my only other criticism for the vehicle is it is a rally car, but it does have slick tires on it. So if you wanted to go drive this thing around in some gravel or something like that, probably not going to work with the slick tires. So that's my only maybe downside to this rally car vehicle, is it doesn't have a treaded tire on it. But again, this thing is an absolute blast, and at $100 for a ready-to-run car with a cool look, a good radio, battery and charger, I mean, that is a real deal for a toy/hobby grade type of vehicle such as this. All right, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this little review of the LaTrax Rally car. Please, if you haven't done so yet, click that subscribe button. Definitely hit the notifications bell so you know when our videos pop up. Throw the video a like, and when you have some extra time, head over to rcdriver.com.